Keith, we're just getting a first look at these numbers. Give us a sense of just how much visibility or what lack of visibility you have for the global business at this point.
Yeah, I mean, the first half of this year has been the most challenging time in the history of the travel and tourism industry. When we saw travel restrictions come into play, we saw demand fall around the world, and that drove our revenues down by about 52% in the first half. We still were able to produce a profit of $74 million, and we're cash flow positive in the second quarter. Because of our resilient business model, we were able to reduce our costs. But clearly, it's a very, very challenging time for the industry. And throughout this, I've been really proud of how our colleagues around the world, our business partners, our owners have worked together to address new operating challenges and also implement new systems to make sure our guests and colleagues are safe around the world as we prepare for the recovery. Because this industry will recover in time because of the inherent desire and need for people to travel. And so a really tough first half of the year, but looking forward to better times in the future.
What are we seeing as far as campaigns to get people back into hotels? Because, you know, a lot of people are right now opting for staycations or maybe staying with friends rather than going into hotels. Are you doing anything extra or special, Keith, beyond what you typically have done?
Yeah, a couple things. We've been very much focused on explaining to our customers, both on the leisure side and the corporate side, about what we're doing to make sure that they have a safe stay when they're in an IHG hotel. So, for example, I was recently over in France staying in one of our hotels, experiencing it as a customer. And it's the social distancing, it's wearing of personal protective equipment, it's reducing of high-touch items like pens and papers and even emptying up minibars, social distancing in restaurants. So really communicating to customers that we have a leading cleaning and operating system so they can feel safe. And we talk about, we're ready when you're ready. And so we're seeing customers around the world really want to travel, but it's really driven by where we are in terms of the virus and the curve. And so we have some markets that are running 80, 90% occupancy in resorts because the virus is under control. And clearly we still have some markets that are still closed down. But fortunately, we have 95% of our hotels open around the world now.
Keith, what can you tell us about the Chinese business, the rate of recovery in the Chinese business that we can learn from in other settings, if that's appropriate? I know you've spent a long time running the Chinese operation. What kind of recovery do you see there?
The business is really beginning to recover there. And I was just on a video call with them yesterday and talking about how they're sort of back to normal. They're dining in restaurants. They're coming into the office. People are booking hotel stays. In fact, Sanya, which is sort of the big resort destination, is having its best month probably ever. And we have resorts across China being sold out right now. And so we are seeing business travel come back as well, too. So as the virus is contained, people have that confidence to travel and restrictions are lifted. On the flip side, though, we've seen other markets like Australia and Victoria where effectively, things have been shut down again, and some other markets where travel restrictions have come between countries where recovery was beginning to happen, and now it's beginning to taper off, too. So it's going to be a bumpy road for this industry until there is a vaccine widely available and customers feel safe and confident to kind of resume normal activity.
A value investor would say a bumpy road is the best time to buy, or use some other form of that expression, right? You want to buy, I guess the worst way to say it, when there's blood on the streets or when fear is highest, right? Are there opportunities out there for you, Keith? Because right now seems like it would be the time to strike.
I think there's going to be opportunities in this industry going forward for consolidation could take place. Some companies may not survive this because of the challenges we're all under. We're fortunate to have a great deal of liquidity. Our focus right now is making sure we're operating our hotels safely, that we're supporting our owners who are small businesses around the world primarily to help get through this, to be incredibly well positioned so that when the recovery comes, we can, again, take advantage of that, both to accelerate our growth and look at new opportunities, too. But right now, it's very much focusing on running the day-to-day into the recovery.
And I wonder how much, you're focused on the day-to-day, obviously, Keith, but I wonder how much time you have to sit and think about strategy going forward. M&A, as Matt says, maybe part of that. I wonder if repositioning to allow some customers to use your hotels differently. Some hotel chains have talked to us in the past about adapting to replace the work from home, to allow a sort of work from hotel setup. Is that something that you're giving some thought to in some locations?
Yeah, I mean, it is sort of managing the short term to operationalize all the new procedures, but thinking about the long term for this industry. How will customers' behavior change over time? What's the product and services they're going to want to have both in our hotels and more broadly, and how we should participate in that too? And so we definitely need to think about how does travel evolve? Someone asked me the other day, what does the future look like? And I honestly do believe that 2021, 2022, 2023 is going to look a lot more like 2019 than 2020 because people will return to their normal habits. Fact of this, you can't Zoom yourself to a great family vacation. You can't Teams yourself to a wedding. And so technology is going to influence and change the experience slightly. People inherently want to travel. People inherently want to connect. And so we think that the industry will look more similar in the future than different, but there will be some slight changes.